Hi, this is Jazz Obrecht, and welcome to my Talking Guitar podcast featuring Swedish guitar great Yngwie Malmsteen's first cover story interview in America. At the time of this conversation, Yngwie, just 21 years old, was rapidly becoming known for his fiery neoclassical guitar style. He'd already recorded albums with Steeler and Alcatrazz and had just released what is arguably the most important album of his career, Rising Force. As we spoke in a San Francisco hotel room that Saturday morning, Yngwie was unabashed in his assessment of his considerable talents as a guitarist and composer. He details the dedication required to attain and maintain his level of skill. He reveals how he composes, drawing on the influences of classical composers such as Bach, Mussorgsky, and Tchaikovsky, rather than other guitarists. And naturally, the subjects of Jimi Hendrix and Ritchie Blackmore came up. Yngwie also details his musical experiences with Alcatrazz and Rising Force. He provides track-by-track insights into his debut solo album and makes a strong argument that he's a unique force unto himself. My interview with this remarkable musician took place on January 12, 1985. And a transcription appeared as the May 1985 Guitar Player magazine cover story. I hope you enjoy the world debut audio of this conversation.
Can you run down who's in the band?
Okay. It's Jens Johansson keyboards.
He was on the album?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Scott Söder vocals, the singer is on the album.
Yeah.
And then we have Anders Johansson, which is Jens' brother, plays drums.
What's his first name?
Anders, Anders.
Okay.
And Marcel Jacob, playing bass. Marcel Jacob.
And Jacob?
Yeah.
How do you know these guys?
Basically from Sweden, really. You know, I knew him more or less Sweden. Marcel, the bass player, has been in my band a long time when I was in Sweden. It was my band for almost 3 years.
Rising Force?
Yeah. Back and forth. The other two guys were just like, they were almost in Rising Force, but not really.
Mm-hmm. After doing 5 albums in 3 years, are you where you want to be now?
2 years.
2 years?
I don't know. I want to go further than this.
What are the advantages of fronting your own band?
Everything. There's only advantages with that, really. You know, because I feel very. It's not only playing live, you know, it's just the thing of just writing all the music and producing everything, and deciding how everything is going to be, you know, played on the albums or whatever. It's a very good advantage for me because that's the way I feel about music. You know, when I write something,
yeah,
I want it to be in a certain way. Yeah, so I really like that.
At this stage, would you accept an offer to join a big name metal band?
No.
What about
absolutely not.
Why? Why?
Why? Because I think I passed the stage of having to play for someone else. That's about what I think I've reached already. I don't think I need to do that.
Would you appear on somebody else's record as a guest?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Depending, of course.
Do you consider yourself a heavy metal player still?
To a certain extent, yes. The term has been widely used for all sorts of music, it seems now. What I think is heavy metal is when I'm standing in front of, you know, 5,000 people banging my Strat into a Marshall stack. You know, that's what I think is heavy metal. You know, heavy metal has been defined as just a music form. To me, it's just more like a way of performing. You know, the music form I'm using is very much more sophisticated, more, you know, progressive, especially classical influence. But the way I'm performing it is like heavy metal. You know, it's a little bit hard to explain. It's very hard to put them down. Really.
Was last night's audience fairly typical for what you're used to? I wonder why it inspires that kind of craziness.
I wanted to, but it's both good and bad, really. You know, I mean, you know, people are treating themselves that way. Gives you kind of a kick because they do that because they're going to do a show, but at the same time, you're kind of wondering, are they hurting themselves now or what? You know, I mean, people just jumping up on stage and jumping straight into the crowd, and it's like in a punk rock show or something. It was really funny, you know, last night. It's incredible. Can't believe that, you know.
I hadn't seen that before. No? Who do you consider your peers?
What's that?
Like your, and how do you see yourself in the world of rock guitar? Who do you consider to be the people that you think you have the most in common with?
In common with?
Yeah.
Really don't know. I never look at myself that way, but you know, depends what I mean. Musically, I don't think I have anything in common with anybody because what I'm trying to do is not very, you know, common in any sort of way. I think, you know, but you know, as far as appreciation goes, I guess it's the same thing as, you know, just any guitar hero kind of thing. You know, it seems. Whatever.
Is your goal to be a hero?
No, not at all. That wasn't never any goal of mine, really. You know.
What was?
From the beginning until now, still, it's just to achieve some sort of musical statement that actually has any meaning and depth to it, you know, rather than just be a poser, you know, and just doing bullshit. You know, I just really want to make a statement for everybody as well as satisfying my own, you know, musical desires as far as developing something that hasn't been done before.
What recordings of yours do you think come closest to fulfilling that?
Probably, well, as far as, you know, I really like my guitar solo on Queen of Corey a lot, you know, I think that's pretty good.
What?
Queen of Corey, guitar solo?
Yeah.
Vad heter det? Intervjun. I like the guitar, I like Far Beyond the Sun very much, and that is so, and some of the guitar solos in my latest record you probably haven't heard yet, I really like. Because I record them in very much pain. When I listen back to them and go, that isn't too bad. You know? Because, you know, I had tendonitis and shit.
In your hand?
Yeah.
When on the last album, the new one?
Yeah.
That's coming out?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
That particular thing with my hand?
Yeah.
Apparently from overplaying too much.
What can you do about it?
Nothing.
Oh boy. What's involved with maintaining your level of skill as a player? What do you have
I
to
would
do?
compare it to like a professional runner or a ballet dancer or some other extremely demanding thing. You know, I mean, it's not like I'm trying to brag or anything, but what I'm doing is extremely demanding, you know. I mean, I you know, can't lay off, I just can't, you know, yeah, well, I don't have to play, it's gonna be cool, you know. Because what I'm doing I really need to be on top of myself, you know. And that's really hard to do when you're on the road and you tend to drink a little bit too much. You know, and I wake up next morning. But you have to do it. You know.
Do you play every day?
I usually do, yes. But since I had this problem with my hand, you know, lately I haven't been playing too much.
Which hand? The left?
The left one.
Huh.
I've had something ridiculous, extreme problems with it. Yeah.
What happens?
Well, every time I like, you know, like my little finger's been real swollen up and stuff, and when I do like a vibrato, my whole wrist would hurt and stuff, you know, the tendons, and stuff, you know, like, you know, it's just ridiculous. It's been very, very hard to cope with.
Do you play as much as you did when you were growing up?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not even close.
How many times a day will you pick up a guitar now if you're not on the road?
Well, normally I would like, you know, 3-4 times, but now since I have this pain in my hand, not at all. I never play. It's the last 4 months or something. I haven't been playing at all.
Just for shows and for recording? Yeah. Do you find that you have trouble working yourself up to playing fast that way?
Yeah, a lot of trouble. Hasn't been working too well. You know, I mean, you know, the actual results were good, but whatever I had to go through in order to reach that was not too good. Anders, din intervju här liksom.
Yeah, right. The record is next month, that's all right.
Have you decided which solo you want to do?
Yeah, they're gonna do, what's the first song on side one of the album?
Sorry. What's that again? Black Star?
Yeah, Black Star's what they're doing. It's a flexi disc. That's
the whole song?
Yeah. How many minutes long is it?
I guess that's like 5 minutes.
I think they're doing 3 minutes of it. Maybe the whole thing. I don't know. And then that's coming up in a couple of weeks, and then the
Steve I came to my show last night.
Yeah, he's transcribing the solo.
Yeah.
And then we're doing the cover story the month afterwards, so you'll be in 2 issues in a row. Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah, it is. Do you play much acoustic guitar?
Yeah, actually I do. I love playing acoustic guitar. I think it's very difficult to play acoustic guitar because, you know, the way my sound is, my guitar sound, is kind of clean, you know. I mean, it's kind of clean, but it's what actually, don't you think it sounds pretty clean?
Yeah.
But actually extremely distorted. It is really, you know. But the way I play it, you don't really hear all the distortion. But it's very distorted sound, and I have a lot of sustain, you know.
Uh-huh.
But when I play the acoustic, I don't have anything. And I play a lot of legatos, you know, like, you know, I would, you know, sometimes on stage, I just play whole solo like this.
Right.
You know,
with your hand
acoustic, yeah, I couldn't do that. You know, so my right hand technique, which I think is pretty dull, I'm really, you know, really developed that.
You play classical and steel string acoustic, right?
Yeah, and 12 string and basically any string, really.
Do you use a pick for all of it?
No, not always, no. Just most of the time.
Do you still record whenever you practice?
Occasionally, yeah. Lately I've been so involved with actual recording that I haven't been doing any 4-track recording at my house. Yeah. But when I wrote all the material for the latest album, I did a lot of recordings. I got, you know, minor studio.
Do you ever compose without a guitar in your hand?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I get very inspired just by reading a book or seeing a movie or something. Then as soon as I pick the guitar up, you know, I will have the, like, for instance, Yngwie's Dream was written that way.
So you imagined it all before you found it on the instrument? Do you think you're constantly improving as a player?
As a matter of fact, I do, yeah. Because it doesn't matter that 5 years ago, I might have been able to play just as fast or faster or whatever. It doesn't matter. I think I'm improving as a musician. And that's one thing I always wanted to point out before, that I'm not at all looking at myself as a guitar player. I don't really care, you know. Because I'm a musician. I'm a composer, an arranger, and a producer, something I've been really into lately. You know? And those things are so demanding that the actual fact of being a guitar player is not so important anymore. Because it's the whole thing, you know. You have to be concerned about everything. Because you write the music, you start by writing it and arranging it.
Yeah.
But you also finish the product by mixing it and producing it, you know. And it's like so much involved from that step to the last step. But it's, you know, so much things, you know. And I think I've been improving a lot on that. You know. Just the guitar playing, obviously, you know, you can always improve whether you want or not, it seems. But you know, the biggest improvement I think I've done is on that field.
Production?
And just composing and, you know, being a musician in general, you know.
When do you tend to compose? Are you very disciplined?
No, it's a very uneven schedule I seem to have. You know, it's like, you know, I can be very uninspired and extremely inspired the next second, you know. So I really don't know that's not like a certain way I have, you know, certain way of doing I have. Just comes out, you know.
Do you ever compose for other instruments?
What do you mean?
Like when you have the songs you've written and arranged, and then you have your bandmen come in and play it. Do you tell them exactly what to
that's
play?
what I always do.
Huh?
I always do that.
Always?
Yeah, never anything else. Like the whole solo album was like that. Even the solos and stuff, even the drum fills, everything. You know. And that's where I am now. That's what I mean by improving. That I have total control. You know.
Does the album match what you wanted it to be? The new album?
The solo album.
Yeah.
It has its ups and downs, I think. You know. It was a very much very rushed operation indeed. But I think it turned out really well, as far as, you know, considering the circumstances.
Does listening to other music ever help you compose? Are there any pieces of music you find...
Classical music, yes.
Is there any pieces you find especially inspirational?
Any particular... Well, you know, basically Bach, you know. I mean, basically everything he ever wrote, as far as that, and also Paganini. It's nothing I really try to do, like, yeah, I'm listening to Bach, yeah, I want to write something like that, you know. It's not all... I'm so into that now. Whatever I write, it's going to sound like that, whether I want it or not, you know. Because, as I said before, I'm not a very disciplined composer. It just comes out of me, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing I really, you know, I don't go, okay, I have to write this, and I'm going to write that. It just comes out of me. And I'm so inspired by that kind of music, it comes out that way. I'm listening to other composers lately that I didn't do before. I listened to Mussorgsky and Tchaikovsky and stuff like that. I never used to listen to that before, but I really like that as well. It's very, like this Pictures of an Exhibition, Mussorgsky is very good, I think.
Do you consider what you're playing classical music of the 20th century?
Do I consider I play classical music? I don't know. I think I took a heritage of that I think it seems most rock musicians did have the ability, but did have the opportunity, but they didn't seem to utilize the fact that we have this beautiful music inherited to us, and utilize that in a more modern form. That's probably what I think I'm doing. I'm not playing purely classical. Like you saw last night, you know, when I do live performance, it's more or less very, you know, more of a powerful kind of thing that might, you know, show off more live than my actual classical influence. I don't really know. I think maybe a little bit both. I don't think I play purely classical, no. I have other influences. Jimi Hendrix, I mean, Jimi Hendrix is my man. You know, I love the guy.
Yeah.
He's great, you know, he's the greatest.
Huh. I noticed you gave him credit, I think, on your album.
Yeah.
And with Bach and Paganini.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Those are my major things.
How did you become aware of classical music?
Well, that started when I was very young. You know, my mother had a lot of classical records at home. And my sister played classical flute and classical piano. And when I started listening to music, I started listening to Deep Purple and Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that. And after a while, you know, like maybe 3-4 years later, I thought, oh yeah, wow, you know, maybe it's, you know, Deep Purple was into classical, so I started listening to Emma Shellac and Palmer and, you know, Genesis, Yes, and more progressive music. But I still love that, you know, the edge and the fucking, you know, aggressive thing like Jimi Hendrix and Deep Purple. But I more, you know, I always got more and more involved in actual music. So what happened was I started listening to those kind of bands, Emma Shellac and Palmer, and then from then on to the purely classical thing, because their influences from the beginning were apparently classical music, and I really loved that. I was kind of, you know, at that point I didn't even know where they got their influences, but I realized pretty soon. You know, classical to me is just very, very inspiring. Since I got CD player very recently, it's like, you know, I'm listening to classical music all the time.
Oh, what is it?
You know, like a CD player.
Oh yeah.
Digital disc.
Yeah.
It's like extremely good, you know.
Huh.
Listening to classical music on that thing.
I wonder if that'll show up in your production in the future.
All my albums are out on CD.
They're what?
All my albums I've done are actually out on CDs, except the Steeler album. All the other albums are done on CDs as well.
They are.
Yeah, but just the fact that listen to classical music, I think the only way you can really listen to it is on CDs. I mean, it's an incredible innovation. Hard rock doesn't sound too good on CDs, but classical music is incredible.
It'd be interesting. Have you ever thought about composing a piece for guitar and electric guitar and orchestra?
Yes, I would very much like to do that indeed. Well, I can say this: I want to do it. I'm probably gonna do it. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you prefer the studio to the stage as far as playing?
Absolutely not.
No?
For the stage, without doubt.
What inspires you to play your best?
What inspires me is everything, but more than inspiration. Fergie! How you doing, mate? How you doing, Martin? What's going on is that I need to feel that I did something good. When the gig is done, I have to feel that it was good, you know? Because otherwise, I really criticize myself extremely hard, you know.
You're very self-critical?
Very self-critical, yeah.
Huh. What do you do if you make a mistake on your own stage?
Well, you know, if I usually do mistakes, but you know, there's nothing I can do about it. And it just makes me realize how to do even better next second.
Do you ever do stuff on stage you've never tried before?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I get very inspired on stage. I get extremely. I can do things that just run out of the fucking blue, you know. Like last night,
Yeah.
I started playing Havana Gila, you know.
Right, I saw that.
And I was like, total out of the blue. I didn't know what I was doing. And the rest of the band just, you know, did it, you know, with me and stuff. It was great. I thought it was really cool. Because I don't even know how to play that thing.
Yeah.
But I started playing it anyway. And I did it in third harmony and stuff, you know. It sounded really cool. I liked it. But things like that I do all the time, you know. Especially with this group now, I feel very, very free, you know. Like, it's not like I'm afraid that Graham Bonnet would, after the show, go, what the fuck did you do that for, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, because I can do whatever I want, really. And it's just wonderful. I really love this band a lot. You know.
Do you think you've been treated fairly in the press?
I think I never had any bad reviews as far as I know, and I read almost all of it, except one. I think Guitar World did really write me down.
Oh, that Pretender to the Van Halen throne thing?
Yeah, or something. I don't understand why they did that, because that's not the kind of person I am at all. You know? I'm not at all like that. I don't understand how they could do that. But you know, things like that happens, I guess. Yeah.
Can you comment on why you left Alcatrazz?
I left Alcatrazz about a year too late, but that's okay. That, I guess, was just advantageous to me, because then I got a bigger name myself. So I got a lot of, you know, recognition from Alcatrazz. But the reason I left Alcatrazz was simply that we couldn't agree musically and personally. You know? And I think it's due to the big age difference. You know, that they like almost 15 years older than me, and their influences and inspirations are totally different than mine. We didn't seem to be able to agree upon almost anything. And that was just a matter of time for me, really. I left a couple of times, and then I went back in the band, went back and forth.
How long were you in?
Well, I was in from the very beginning.
So you were in about a year and a half?
A little bit longer. But yeah, not a year now. A little bit longer than a year.
What was the strategy of releasing a live album right after the studio
Don't
album?
ask me. I have nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing. I was very surprised when that thing came out because I never really liked the production or anything of it. You know, I thought the way I play is really awful.
Bonnet's voice is real bad on it.
I really think so. Yeah.
Did you have a lot of off nights with Alcatrazz? Did the
But
band?
me or everybody
The
else?
band, yeah.
Everybody. Almost all the time.
Yeah, I saw you a couple of times, and it always struck me like you were a diamond among coal. You know?
That's very flattering.
Wondered what you were doing.
I personally think I did a lot better last night than I ever did with Alcatrazz.
Yeah.
I think it's much more.
You seem happier and freer.
Oh yeah, much.
Huh.
Yeah, I wouldn't even compare it really.
When was most of the material for the Rising Force album written?
Some of it was written when I lived in Sweden.
What are the songs that go back then?
Black Star,
Yeah.
Now Ships Are Burned, As Above So Below. Far Beyond the Sun I wrote earlier this year.
Uh-huh.
No, last year. Like just before it was recorded, I wrote Far Beyond the Sun and Icarus Dream. And what's the other one? Little Savage as well. Those are brand new compositions.
What was your recording method? What would you lay down first?
Drums.
And then?
Barrymore played these drums. We recorded in a big warehouse with a mobile truck. And it sounded really nice and everything. We only rehearsed like 3 days before the recording. And it's pretty, intricate stuff.
Yeah.
Dan was really great. Really proud of him because he had a very tough gig. He just was flown over me, and then we rehearsed for like 3-4 days, and then we recorded the whole thing in two days.
Was there a plan to have him in the band?
No, not in the band, no.
He came in as a studio guy, basically.
Yeah, well, see, when I started solo, I was doing Alcatrazz, so I didn't even plan to have this guy, Jans,
Uh-huh.
in the band or anything. But eventually, I decided, man, I have to leave. I'm just gonna do this last tour, and that's it. So I did the last tour, and as soon as I came home, we started making arrangements, rehearsing for the new album, and I brought over Jens' brother. And,
The bass player?
yeah, no, the bass player is not. No, the drummer is Jens' brother.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Jens and Anders Johansson. Whatever, I formed a band.
How many tracks of guitars do some of those songs have? What's the thickest one?
Oh, it's Icarus Dream, I think.
Okay. What kind of classical guitar did you use for the project?
It's Aria Classical with scalloped neck and cutaway.
Scallop fingerboards?
Yeah.
What about steel string?
Steel strings. All acoustic work was done on Aria guitar, and all the bass was done on Aria bass with the tremolo plates.
Did you play any of the bass
I played all the bass.
on the album?
Yeah.
Ah. What about what was the main guitar you used?
The guitar is on the front cover. That's the one I'm using for the album.
Which one is that?
The guitar on the front cover is like cream colored 69 Strat.
Were you playing that last night?
No, I didn't last night because Fergie, my neurology, he couldn't, he didn't have time to get it fixed.
Okay, on the first solo that comes in Black Star, it has a tone that's somewhat similar to Alan Holdsworth. Are you familiar with him?
That must be just plain, it has nothing to do with him,
No, I know that, but I was wondering what the...
Of course I know who he is, but I'm not trying to play like him at all,
What I'm asking is how you got it to sound like that. It sounds like this chorusing and a little bit of vibrato bar and volume swells mixed together. How do you get the tone for the first solo part?
It's just the same thing as always, using my Marshall and my Strat.
Do you have any effects?
Well, yeah, you saw the effects, but I bypassed all of them, so I don't really need them.
Did you use a whammy bar while you were playing that?
We're playing what?
Okay, in Black Star it has the classical intro, right?
Yeah, the acoustic guitar.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the first guitar electric solo comes in.
Oh, that's
got
the light and sounds like a cleaner sound guitar.
Yeah, and the notes sustain together and it's real flowing.
I think that's not memorable. I don't think it's a bar, no.
That's just the way you played it?
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting. Okay, then a little bit later on, there's like multi-track lines. The line that's doubled by another line?
Yeah.
Okay, how many times...
That's first take.
First take?
Yeah.
Do you have trouble... what do you have to keep in mind when you're syncing one line up to another like that?
Well, you know, really nothing. I mean, if I have a point, I mean, it's like, you know, I can be drunk off my ass and I can play those things as easily as anything, because if I have something composed for me, it doesn't matter how hard it is, I can always play it. What's demanding is to play something real good and real fast and really inspiring and do it just out of the blue, like improvised, you know, like all my solos. That's difficult, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, to have something written and then do a third harmony to that, that's no problem. That's easy.
When you're going to do an added harmony, will you use the same guitar and amp and settings, or do you change?
Yeah, I just, you know, go to another track and then, you know.
Was that was the fusiony break in the middle spontaneous?
Was that?
Wait a minute. How long did it take to record something like Far Beyond the Sun?
That was a very quick song, actually. I think it was that second or third take, something? Far Beyond the Sun.
Yeah.
For the drums. But and the guitar, you know, almost like right away, you know, because I was very inspired when I recorded that. You know? So that, even though that's a pretty demanding piece,
Yeah.
it, you know, it came down real easily. You know, we had, when I recorded last album, you know, we played real simple music, not the solo album, the one that's going to come out. And that we had a lot more trouble doing that real clean and real heavy, rather than playing very, you know, loosely and very advanced stuff.
Huh. Did Jens have a free hand with keyboard parts?
No,
Not on that song?
nothing.
Wow. Did you wrote the lyrics as well?
Yeah,
Do you sing?
yeah. Oh yeah,
Why do you have a singer?
because it's much better than me.
Have you ever thought of having vocal lessons?
For myself?
Yeah.
Yes, I have actually. That's something that will eventually come as well. I sing backgrounds on a new album. And it turned out to sound pretty good.
How many times you've recorded Evil Eye? Once with Alcatrazz and once solo. That was a nice touch, having acoustic guitars doing exchanges with the electric.
Yeah. I really like the way it came out on the solo record. I don't like the way it was on the live album. I think that's very awful.
When did you write that song?
I wrote that song New Year's Eve, 82-83.
What inspired you?
Or maybe
Where were you, sitting in a hotel?
oh no, I was with Jens
Uh-huh.
and Anders. We had been playing for like 14, 15 hours straight. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and we were just fucked up. And I composed that and we recorded it.
Boy, that's a good song. Okay, at the very end of that side of the album, there's a fade track after Evil Eye.
Yeah.
Is that guitar and keyboard synthesizer?
No, that's just keyboard, just piano and synthesizer.
Do you play keyboards?
No.
Did you use many effects devices on this album?
Nothing.
None at all?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Just guitar and amp?
Yeah.
Huh. There's one point in Icarus where there's a harpsichord.
Yeah.
Do you play along with that on something?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you playing?
I'm playing it goes in 3-beat.
Right.
On
an electric guitar?
It's electric, yeah.
It syncs so well, it's hard to figure out what's
Yeah, that's the
what.
guitar, yeah.
That's a good sign. That had a nice classical break. Was that the way the song was composed?
Yes. That's dedicated to my cat.
Your cat?
My dead cat, yeah.
That's nice.
That's
Now-
Moje. You know, on the album it says Eco Streams dedicated to Moje.
Yeah.
M-O-J-E. That's my old cat I had for 13 years I grew up with in Sweden. My mother called me and said he was dead. You know, I was really attached to that cat. You know. I love cats, I have cats at home.
Me too. I've got quite a few.
Yeah, I got 3.
Yeah. Huh. Do you use the 12-string on?
Yeah, quite a lot of 12-string on that album.
Was that an aria? How did I know?
All acoustic guitars, oh yeah.
As
They're
above,
custom built for me though.
As Above, So Below, you said that you wrote that before?
Yeah.
Why? That sounds almost like an Alcatrazz type song. Why? Did Alcatrazz ever do that?
No.
Hmm. Okay, in that song there's an instance where you have one line doubling another line, but it's got a different tone.
It's just an improvised. I did that on this last album too. You know, like I do an improvised guitar solo on the record. You know,
Right.
And I listen back to it and go, man, that line there sounds real nice. Maybe I should put a harmony to that. You know, it's totally out of the blue, but I should put a harmony to it. You know, that's what it said. That's what I did. You know, I did on new album. I did quite a lot that kind of thing.
Little Savage is very emotional. Was that break in the middle spontaneous?
The guitar work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I really couldn't reproduce that live too good. I didn't never remember it, you know. This is a very weird chord progression. It's not like a regular minor key.
The Little Savage?
Yeah, in the middle there.
It sounds like one of the great rock chord progressions. Oh, not the middle, the beginning part. Yeah. The middle almost sounds more like fusion than rock.
Yeah, I don't really know what that song sounds like. It's hard to label things like that.
When did you compose Farewell?
I think I just played it someday, you know, just played it. It's a stupid piece, I don't even know why I even named it anything.
Are any of the pieces on that record particularly challenging to play on stage? Any of them more difficult?
Yeah, they all are, actually. They're really demanding. They're not, I mean, not at all the same thing as playing the Alcatrazz tunes. You know, you can just bang on the guitar and play those songs. But these are pretty hard to play live.
Is there any disadvantages to producing your own album?
The disadvantage is that you never have any time off. That's sort of the disadvantage. But the advantage is to be totally satisfied with the end result. I think.
When will that album be released in the U.S.?
The solo record, yes. Oh yes.
Rise
on
and
Mercury. Yeah.
Do you know when that's going to happen?
After the one that comes out now.
Ah.
That's the way my management and everybody wanted to arrange it, and I think that's good.
I'd like to talk about your guitars for a minute.
Sure.
Do you mostly use Fender Strats still?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I've been improving. I've been, you know, screwing around with other things nowadays. You know, like, you know, I put a Floyd Rose on my two main guitars last night. I had Floyd Roses on. Maybe you saw it. But I don't have the clamp nut, so there's really no big difference. I just like that it's a very smooth tremolo feel, you know. So I've been starting to use that quite a lot. Just, you know, to, you know, break the bore really. I'll just hand playing Strat. I also been using wireless systems, you know. Like I just bought one, and I really felt really great, you know, free about it. But I couldn't use it last night. You know, it's terrible.
How come? Too much noise?
Too much noise. Yeah.
Was that an 80 system?
Yeah.
Do you have special setup requirements for your guitars?
What's that again?
Do you have special setup requirements for your guitar? Aside from the scallop fingerboards?
Ask Fergie.
Yeah, I should talk to him later.
No, it's really well, I mean, you know, it's not fancy shit, you know, it's basically a plain Strat with scallop fingerboard.
The Fender pickups?
No,
What do you use?
the Morrison.
No,
The Morrisons are great guys, they're really good.
you do that ad for him, right?
Yeah.
Is that the pickup you use, the one that's in the ad?
What's in there, I haven't even seen it.
Yngwie has a lot of guitars, but he only uses one pickup, the DiMarzio X21 or something like that, I forget.
Maybe that's Carlos Cavalli, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't that Carlos Cavalli?
They have an ad with you now like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just basically a plain Strat, you know.
They're plain Strat
Yeah,
pickups?
but like Ian Ferguson, my guitar technician over there, he used to be Ritchie Blackmore, worked for Ritchie, and apparently my guitar is pretty similar to Ritchie's, you know. So he knows exactly how to keep them in tune and everything. It's really great.
Have you met Blackmore or any of your heroes since you've made a name for yourself?
What's that?
Have you met Blackmore or any of your heroes since you've made a name for yourself?
I met Ritchie once, yeah.
A long time ago or recently?
No, I was not long. I was so fucked up, and he was drunk too, so it wasn't really a, you know, nobody understood what was going on. Can I have some coffee, please?
What about you?
Yeah, I'd like some. Do you have a cup?
Yeah, throw some cream and stuff in. No, but he seems to be a nice guy. You know, I still respect him a whole lot. You know,
I hear.
I really must say though, you know, not trying to offend anybody, but anybody who thinks I play like Ritchie Blackmore must be totally tone deaf.
Yeah.
Because that's, you know, it's ridiculous to hear. Can I have some sugar, yeah? You know, that sometimes you hear, yeah, you sound like Ritchie Blackmore. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, it's like
What they do
ridiculous.
is they confuse the image. Black
I don't think the image
the
is the same
cross.
either, you know.
Yeah, the strat.
Because, you know, the thing, my stage influences are Jimi Hendrix and Ian Anderson.
Yeah, Ian Anderson.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Have you ever checked the guy out on stage? What? You see quite a few things I've stolen them. Can I have the sugar, dear? Yeah, he's very inspiring. I really like the Jeff the Tar. It's a great band.
Would you explain how you scallop a fingerboard?
Just with file, you know, just file them up.
And sand them?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you press the string down, do you take it all the way to the fingerboard?
No, never. I play it just like regular guitar.
What do you mean?
Just like, you know, I play it normally. You know? I mean, I could play any fucking guitar, but I prefer the scalloping because it gives it more control to it, you know.
But you still like press the string all the way against the fingerboard. It's not like.
I never do that.
So the string never touches the
Never,
fingerboard. It
ever.
just touches the fret.
Yeah.
So
That's
like
what
John
happens when
McLaughlin.
most people play my guitars. They press too hard, and the guitar, you know, the strings
Goes out of
tune.
pitch.
Yeah. I never play that way. I always play it like regular guitar, you know. The string is just straight over the fret, you know, doesn't bend out.
Ah. Does that help your speed?
No, it's harder to play fast on the scallop now. Much harder. It's very much harder actually, because the string action has to be much higher.
Do you use stock Fender tremolos still?
Yeah,
With a heavier bar?
sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
Do you have the 4 springs like in the back of the album, or like on the album?
Sometimes
cover?
5.
5 springs.
Yeah.
You seem to use the vibrato bar less on Rising Force album than you have in the past, or than you do on stage.
Maybe, yeah. I really don't know. I never think of that. It's just something that happens.
Yeah.
You know, I really never know exactly what.
Okay, when you're on stage, where does your signal from your guitar go? Does it go directly to the amps?
No, it goes through a rolling echo unit, like a cheap old version that's not sold anymore. Like, it goes through a couple of pedals and shit, but not, you know, as you said, I didn't overuse any pedals as far as I'm concerned. I used the octave divider quite a lot. You hear that?
Do you know who made it?
The octave divider.
Octave
It's
divider?
a boss.
Do you use that in your shows now?
Yeah.
What for? For the...
The solo I'm doing. You know, I was by myself.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear? It was like a very, you know, I did a thing where it like very heavy sounding. Like, low.
And you have an echo unit?
Yeah.
When do you use that?
In the solo as well. That's the only time I'm using it. My bass, Taurus bass pedals I'm using.
Where do you use those? What for?
And last night I never used.
You see,
They were out of tune when I hit the stage, and I wasn't going to use them at all. I normally use them quite a lot. You know, I use them for intros and my guitar solo where I'm doing like an echo thing, and I play another part. I play like a very, you know, like a fugue, you know, and it's very hard.
now, can you give an example where on the album somebody could hear the bass pedals?
In the intro of what's it called, Eaker's Dream,
Mm-hmm.
and I think in the end of Little Savage as well.
And the Little Savage?
I think so.
How many amps do you have on stage?
3,
100 watt?
no, all 50, 350 watt heads.
And what about cabinets?
6. That's my main setup. That's what I have at home. That's my usual, that's what I own. But I usually, sometimes I use 10 heads and 10 cabinets. Depends.
So you don't use your pedal board much?
No, very rarely actually.
What
If
kind
you
of?
could even call it a pedal board, because it's a piece of shit actually.
It's just the chorus. And what's it have now?
I have a shitload of things and fucking hell, and I like, chord gave me this extremely nice digital delay, It's got you can have a setting so it's like a stereo chorus, like a harmonizer or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very nice effect, but I couldn't use that last night either. It's too much buzz and stuff. I think all that buzz is because of my Marshalls. I'm thinking about having to rebuild maybe, because I have so much trouble with us. They tend to be too noisy and shit.
Are they old ones?
Yeah, really old.
Tubes, huh? Do they have master volumes on them?
No, nothing. They're just stock, real old stock 50 watt heads.
How do you set
British.
How do you put the settings on them? For
Full. Everything.
Except
the
bass, which
Everything's
is all the way off.
Yeah.
What kind of strings do you use?
I was using a certain brand for a while, but I'm not using it anymore. I'm using only ball strings.
Light, like 9 to 46.
Sometimes, yeah. But actually, I'm having pretty light top and extreme heavy bottoms. They're going from 8 to 48.
Does that throw off your whammy bar?
I put more springs on the bottom end.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And you use Fender extra heavy picks?
Yeah, definitely. I have to be extra heavy. I couldn't play with anything else.
Do you hold it the usual way?
Oh, like that, yeah.
Between your thumb and index finger, and do you use the pointy end?
Yeah, the pointy end.
A lot of guys like to use the sides now.
I couldn't do that.
More and more players. Do you ever play electric guitar without a pick?
I do, yeah. I want to play the classical pieces.
Do you have any picking patterns that you follow all the time?
No, I never think about that. I just play. Yeah.
Did you move up, if you're playing a solo and you start low and move up the neck, will you switch your pickup position as you go higher?
Sometimes. It's not a pattern or anything. It's not a thing I have to always do the same. It's just, always different.
Are there any techniques you want to get down that you're having trouble with? Anything you're working on learning?
No. I tend to go the same speed as far as musical improvement and technical improvement goes hand in hand for me. It's not like, oh, I have to do this. And I do. Yeah, but actually, I did, I wrote a musical piece in a song called Disciples of Hell.
It's called what?
Disciples of Hell. Play itself, and it's extremely difficult. It's classical part in the middle. It's very, very difficult to play. That kind of was a little bit demanding for me. I had to do that a couple of times.
When you add vibrato to a note, which fingers do you use?
Anything.
Any finger? What about if you're bending a note?
Doesn't matter. Just anything. Really. Whatever fingers do.
Do you have strong hands?
Well, sort of, yeah. I have, but now, as you know, my throw before my hand is not what it's used to be.
Are you working on any new, incorporating any new scales into your playing?
Sometimes I do, yeah. I do some stuff where I'm, actually incorporating, like a melodic and harmonic. I play both the harmonic and the melodic note, which is D and D sharp. For instance, an E minor scale. I play both D and D sharp, rather than just playing either one.
Huh.
And it gives a very interesting effect. Like doing a broken chord and go to D and then to D sharp. It's a very interesting effect.
Huh. What kind of mood does the Phrygian mood convey to you?
I love it. I think it's great. It's very good. The combination of Phrygian and diminished mode gives me a real good, I don't know, I just feel very good about expressing myself that way.
What about harmonic minor?
It's good too.
Not a lot of pentatonic, huh?
Not too much.
Do you record your shows at night?
Whenever I can, yeah.
You listen back?
Yeah. I criticize myself a little bit too harshly, really.
What advice would you give a guitar player who wanted to break out of stock soloing patterns?
Stop listening to other guitar players. Stop listening to me. Don't do what I'm doing. Do what the fuck you want to do. Do something else. That's my advice. You know?
Does it bother you to hear somebody use a line that you might have played, or to have?
There's nothing I can do about it, so it doesn't bother me.
Do you find it flattering?
No.
Can you tell me about the new album?
Yes. New album is very commercial in many ways, and in many ways it's like the solo album. It's got a lot of stuff on there, little small short pieces. One called 1383, which is like an emulator.
Called what?
1383, where I play like an acoustic guitar and electric guitar, like a multi-track electric guitar and acoustic, and we have an emulator voice machine. And it's a very interesting effect. I dedicated that to a certain beer brand that started being brewed by that time.
A beer brand?
Yeah, I was very intoxicated at the time.
That's 1383?
Yeah, 1383, yes. It's a lot of, little small bits and pieces that sound really classical and stuff. But in general, there's like four songs on there that could be like radio hits,
With vocals?
They're all vocal songs.
Every song?
Yeah. I wrote all the melody lines on the whole album, and of course all the music and all the vocal lines. And 2 or 3 songs I collaborated with the singer.
With the words?
Yeah. The rest of the words I wrote as well.
Were any of these songs recorded at the same time as Rise and Force was?
No.
It's all new stuff?
Yeah, all new.
Do any of the songs date back to Sweden?
1. 2 of them, actually.
Do you have quite a backlog of songs?
Oh yeah, I mean it's ridiculous, Whether they're good or not, I don't know, but I have millions of them.
Yeah? Have you written?
I don't feel good about using old songs now, sorry. I always want to write new songs to feel better.
Do you ever write with video in mind now?
No, I prefer not to have video in mind while I'm writing. I'd rather have music in mind when I'm writing, and then after the song is written, do the video. After whatever mood the song requires. I'm really disgusted with the way music tend to turn out nowadays, that it becomes a fucking score, film score, It's not the main part anymore.
Do you see a danger in music videos? Let me explain Let me explain what I mean. When we were kids and we heard Hendrix all along the Watchtower or something, we had our own set of images for it and our own emotional reactions. When you see a video, the first time you hear a song, sometimes when I hear the song again, I'll put the video images in my mind, and I won't have my own images. I'll have somebody else's.
I know. Leaves nothing to the imagination, and I really don't like it. I hate it. That's the way it's turned out now. It's like I really, really hate the way. When I watch MTV, very rarely, but whenever I do, I find that most of the videos are really crap music. I mean, it's fucking crap, and they spend millions of dollars to do like a fucking movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, but the music is awful. They sell the music by doing a fucking movie, a minor movie around it,
Right.
And I think it's disgusting. Because the music is the most important thing,
Huh.
But, you should never get too involved in these kind of things, because there's nothing you can do. Really.
Andy's gonna send me a cassette of some of the new stuff on the album. Can we have a phone interview after that for 15 minutes, and
Sure.
just so when the story comes out, it'll have that material in it as well. I can ask some intelligent questions.
Yeah.
You've been it's been what, 3 years since you left Sweden now?
2 years. A little bit less. It's 1 year and 11 months.
Boy. Are you happy? Do you feel like you've come a long ways?
I must say that I do, yeah. I really think so.
Are you happy with the way things are going? The way you're headed?
I am very.
Is big time rock what you thought it would be when you were a kid?
No.
How's it different?
It's much more hard work than what it is. It's a lot of hard work, and you know, I guess it's worth it, but you really have to work a lot more than people seem to imagine.
Is it hard to keep a perspective on yourself with a lot of people telling you how great you are?
No, it's no problem at all for me. I'm always looking at myself the same way. I always look at myself the same way, and I'm never going to change, even though I'm awarded as the best new talent in what I consider the major guitar magazine. You know, it's not going to make me, a big-headed guy. Not at all. I appreciate it, and I really, think it's great. I think it's very nice that people think that I'm good, but it doesn't make any difference to what I think about myself. Contrary to a very popular belief, that I'm just a big-headed ego. It's totally wrong.
I've never found that.
That's some people seem to think so, and it's not at all true.
Do you have a bad temper?
Pretty bad, yeah. That's another thing. That's nothing to do with my personal look at myself or people. Well, I mean, I can explode pretty easily, actually.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. It can be bad sometimes, but I can't help it.
What would you like to be doing in 10 years?
Basically the same thing. If I feel the same way I do now, basically the same thing. Or who knows? Maybe I'll be a race car driver or something.
What are your interests outside of music?
Mainly, well, right now I don't have time to do anything but playing. But I used to read a lot, before, stuff like that.
There's one thing I wanted to ask. A lot of people have asked me to ask you how you warm up before a show.
I don't warm up.
Can you not play a guitar all day, grab it, and go on stage,
Yeah.
and launch into a burning solo?
That's the problem. That's what I've been doing for so many years. That's why I think my hand fucked up. Because I never warmed up. I just started playing 180 miles an hour right away. And that's probably wrong. I never warmed up ever. And that's probably what fucked my hand up.
Do you ever feel you play too fast?
Not too fast.
Do you ever want
too much.
to? Do you ever want to slow it down?
No. I don't see any wrong with playing fast. I think, as you might have heard last night, I didn't play fast all the time.
Right.
I play a lot of slow notes as well, and that's something I'm gonna start doing. Because now I feel like I don't have to rush anything. In Alcatrazz, I almost felt like I had to show off just on small parts where I can do the solo.
Green one right under your neck.
Yeah.
Is that the one off the picture?
Yeah.
Why are you using a left-handed neck on it?
That's a very good neck.
That was the guitar you had that was upside down. Was that from the left-handed guitar you used to play?
I have a bunch of those. I have so many Strats, it's not even funny. I probably have 40 Strats.
Old ones?
All sorts, all different ones. I got one DiMarzio Strat that's fucking amazing, you can see. It's got a red body, a red neck, a red pickguard, red pickups cover. It's like red molded plastic, and red knobs and everything red on it. Red Strat. It's totally amazing. But it's not scalloped yet, so I can't play it live. But I'll get it scalloped and refinish it red next time.
Do you have any predictions for the future of rock guitar?
Really, no. See, I'm not involved at all in rock guitar, as I told you before, I never listen to guitar players, so I really don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yes.
And I don't care. So I can't really make any predictions. I hope people are going to try and do something different.
But if you want to produce music, with the market in mind, don't you have to sort of keep aware of what's going on? In other words, if you're going to write an album where you hope to have singles, isn't it important to hear what...
Yeah, you don't have to listen to a fucking guitar player to do that, though. You can be aware of... I really don't think it should have to be aware, because that's what makes everything so fucking clinical. Everybody tries to be like everybody else, and I don't want to do that. I refuse to do that,
How hard would it be for you to mimic a Jimi Hendrix piece or something?
Well, I could do it, I know most of his stuff. It wouldn't be too hard, I mean, that's, everybody knows that for his time he was absolutely, just the ultimate, the superior. But by the time now, like 15 years later, what he did is not so hard to do on the guitar.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, it's hard, but it's not extremely hard. You know?
Well, the kids now, the young guys, are just taking it so far beyond. As far as technical abilities, you know, people now are progress much quicker than they did 20 years ago.
Yeah, they have more to refer to.
You think that's it?
I think so. Although I really must say I don't like the fact that people, you know, guitar playing is such it's so much more, it seems, than just music. You know, it's like, you know, all this hero worshipping is, you know, you don't hear that about keyboard players. You know,
No.
it's like, you know, a guitar player is something, you know, that people really look up to, it seems. And I kind of think that's wrong, because, you know, it takes away the value of the actual musicianship. It seems like, you know, just being the guitar player is so much more important than being a musician. And I think that's wrong. You know, I think people should stop doing that and just, you know, because it's becoming a sport or something. Yeah, he can play much faster than him, and he's much better than him, and da-da-da. Who gives a shit, you know? That's not what it's all about, you know?
Do you remember? Do you know somebody named Vivian Campbell?
What's that? Yeah.
I interviewed him, and it just came out, and he talked about you in the interview, and it really bothers him that he can't play as fast as you.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's something that really bothers this guy. I
That's
said,
too bad.
you know,
I think, you know, he shouldn't think of what I'm doing. You know? He should do what he wants to do.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Why should that bother him? I don't understand. He's playing with what I consider being the best singer in the world. You know, yeah, I think Ron James Dio is a very inspiring guy. This thing is very good.
Is there anybody you'd like to play with or jam with or be in a band with?
Not be in a band with, but jam with, yeah, sure. A lot of people.
Yeah. Anything else you want to cover today?
Not that I can think of right away, no.
I always remember this interview as taking place on one of my most interesting days as an editor for Guitar Player magazine, because as soon as I was done interviewing Yngwie that Saturday morning, I drove over the Golden Gate Bridge and spent the afternoon interviewing Jerry Garcia for It's Fret's cover story. This recording is available on YouTube as well, as is an earlier interview I did with Yngwie while he was in Alcatrazz. The link for both of these interviews is in my write-up. Before signing off, I want to express my appreciation to the Southern Folklife Collection, the Andrew Mellon Foundation, and my podcast producer and engineer, Nick Hunt. Nick and I want to encourage you to make a donation to help us continue producing more talking guitar podcasts like this one. We couldn't do them without you, and we appreciate your support. This podcast is copyright 2024 by Jazz Obrecht, all rights reserved. Thanks for listening.